A fragile peace. For some weeks after the naming quarrel, the compound in Asokore felt like the quiet after a storm. Kwame worked long hours on his cocoa farm. Amma settled into caring for the baby, and Madame Akosua often sat on her wooden stool in the evening sun, humming old folk songs while shelling groundnuts. But peace in Kwame's family was like the Hamatan breeze, soft in the morning, rough by afternoon. The festival announcement. One bright Monday morning, a town crier clanged a bell at the junction. Greater than hear ye, hear ye. The Open River Festival will be celebrated in 2 weeks. There will be drumming, dancing, wrestling, and a cooking contest for the best palm nut soup. Amma's ears perked up. Cooking contest? Palm nut soup? That was her pride and joy. She had not forgotten how her soup was once ruined by little Aqua's salt prank. This was a chance to prove herself before the whole town. Kwame, she said later that evening, I must enter this contest. Everyone thinks of me as the woman whose soup once tasted like seawater. I'll show them I can cook better than anyone in Asokore. Kwame grinned. Go ahead, my love. I will cheer for you. Maybe you'll win a goat as the prize. Then we'll have another goat meat stew. Madame Akosua, fanning herself in the corner, scoffed. Hmm. In my youth, I won that same contest 3 years in a row. But what do I know? Young women of today think pepper and Maggie cubes make them chefs. Amma's eyes twinkled. Mama, you can be my advisor. I'll listen this time. Akosua's eyebrows rose. Perhaps the girl was changing after all. Trouble brewing at the market. That Saturday, Amma went to the big market across the river to buy ingredients. At the fish stall, she overheard two women whispering her name. See her, one muttered. The health center woman who brought down the mighty Mr. Tete. She thinks she's a heroine. The other snickered. Wait and see. Some people in power haven't forgiven her yet. Amma's stomach knotted. She still remembered the threatening letter after Mr. Tete's dismissal. While she chose fresh tilapia, a tall stranger in a faded brown cap lingered by the pepper sellers, watching her too closely. She tried to ignore him, but when she finished shopping and turned down the narrow path by the yam heap, the man stepped into her way. Madame Amma, he said with a thin smile, a word of advice. Skip that cooking contest. There are people who don't want to see you standing in front of the crowd again. Amma stiffened. Who sent you? The man only tapped the brim of his cap and melted back into the market crowd. Night whispers. That night, Amma lay awake beside the baby's cot. She told Kwame what had happened. His jaw tightened. These people will not leave us alone, but fear not. I will speak to the town chief tomorrow. No one will threaten my wife in my house. Madame Akosua, who overheard, murmured, some fights are not fought with fists, my son. There are shadows in Asokore longer than the palm tree at noon. Kwame ignored the warning. A new rumor. Meanwhile, the neighbors had found a fresh bone to chew, the baby. Little Amaserwa had a strange birthmark behind her tiny ear, shaped like a crescent moon. A gossip monger named Auntie Dead, who sold fried plantain by the roadside, started telling anyone who'd listen that a crescent mark was a sign that the child was destined for the river goddess. Mark my words, Auntie Dede whispered in the dusk to the women by the well. If they don't take that child to the shrine to be blessed during the river festival, there would be trouble. By the next morning, the rumor had spread faster than bushfire in dry grass. When Madame Akosua heard it, she flew into a rage. No grandchild of mine will be paraded before some shrine. That child will grow up in the church. Amma was furious. People are unbelievable. A birthmark becomes a curse now? Kwame sighed. We will not take the baby to the shrine. End of discussion. But deep down, Amma worried. The villagers could be superstitious. What if the gossip grew into something dangerous? The contest day, the day of the Open River Festival, arrived with drums, colorful cloths, and the smell of roasted corn in the air. Stalls lined the dusty field near the riverbank. Children ran about chasing dragonflies. Young men oiled themselves for the wrestling match, and elders gathered beneath the big baobab tree to judge the cooking competition. Amma's stand was decorated with fresh plantain leaves. A palm nut soup bubbled in a blackened clay pot, spiced with smoked fish, fresh goat meat, and just the right pinch of salt. Madame Akosua, surprisingly cooperative, helped by pounding the palm nuts with steady rhythm, humming an old festival song. Nearby, Auntie Dede also entered the contest, determined to prove her roadside stew could defeat Ama's fancy health center lady cooking. As the judges tasted one dish after another, a hush fell on the crowd. When it was Ama's turn, the oldest judge, Nana Kwabena, dipped his spoon, tasted, smacked his lips, and broke into a slow smile. Aha! This, he said, is soup worthy of a king. The crowd erupted in cheers. Ama's face glowed with relief. But just as the prizes were about to be announced, chaos broke out. The tall stranger from the market barged forward, pointing at Ama's baby, who slept in a sling on Akosua's back. That child has the river's mark, he shouted. Until she is dedicated to the goddess, her mother's victory cannot be blessed. Gasps rose from the crowd. Auntie Dede seized the moment. It's true, we all saw the crescent. A taboo is a taboo. Amma stepped back, trembling with anger. My child is healthy. Leave her out of this foolishness. The festival grounds turned into a whirlwind of argument. Some supported Amma, others called for the shrine priestess. The priestess arrives news reached the shrine nearby, and soon the priestess Essie appeared, barefoot, draped in white cloth with beads jingling at her ankles. She examined the baby quietly, then raised her staff. This mark, she said, is a blessing, not a curse. The river goddess claims no harm. All she asks is that the child's first birthday be celebrated with water and song by the riverside. No sacrifice, no fear. The tension broke. Some people clapped, others muttered in disappointment. They had expected drama. Amma hugged the baby tightly, tears of relief in her eyes. Madame Akosua muttered under her breath, superstitions everywhere. Let's go home. Despite the commotion, the judges declared Amma the winner of the cooking contest. She received a healthy young goat, which bleated loudly as if announcing its future in her stew pot. Shadows of revenge. The family's joy, however, was short lived. That night, while Kwame tied the goat in the shed, a shadow moved behind the cocoa trees. The tall stranger from the market watched the house silently, then slipped away into the dark. 2 days later, Amma returned from the health center to find the compound in chaos. The goat was gone again, rope cut clean. Not another goat, she cried, half laughing, half angry. Madame Akosua shook her head. History repeats itself. But this theft was different. By morning, a threatening note was found pinned to the door, a warning to Amma. Stay away from matters that don't concern you. Next time, it won't be the goat. Kwame took the note straight to the local police. A trap is set. The police suspected the theft was linked to Amma's testimony against Mr. Tete. They advised laying a trap. That night, Kwame and his friend, Officer Mensah, hid in the shadows near the goat shed, leaving a borrowed goat tied as bait. Hours passed under the moon's pale glow. Just as the night insects fell quiet, two figures crept in with a sack. Before they could grab the goat, Officer Mensah leapt out, shouting, Freeze! The intruders bolted, but Kwame tackled one to the ground. The other vanished into the dark. When the captured man's hood was pulled back, Amma gasped. It was the same tall stranger from the market. Under questioning, he confessed he had been paid by Mr. Tete's cousin, a clerk at the regional office, to harass Amma so she would drop any plans of pursuing the harassment case further. The police arrested the cousin the next day. For the first time, Amma felt the shadow over her family lifting. Healing at last weeks later, as the baby began to crawl, the compound slowly turned into a happier place. Amma and Madame Akosua were often seen sitting together under the mango tree, gossiping about neighbors instead of fighting each other. Kwame's farm yielded a good harvest. He even started building an extra room for the growing family. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped low, Akosua said softly to Amma, "My daughter, I've been hard on you. I thought I was protecting my son, but I was protecting my own pride. Forgive me." Amma smiled. "Mama, we both have sharp tongues, but we love this family. Let's teach Amma Serwa better." The two women laughed, a rare, genuine laugh that made Kwame pause at the doorway, silently grateful. The moral of the story. The tale of Kwame's household traveled far beyond Asokore. At the riverside bar, men would say, over calabashes of palm wine, "Did you hear of the goat thief who returned because of a woman's courage?" Market women teased each other. "Careful, don't be like Amma and her salty soup incident." And the elders nodded wisely. Suspicion blinds faster than truth can open the eyes. Greed strips the greedy before the righteous can even speak. And sometimes the fiercest battles in a home end not with fists, but with forgiveness. On Amasewa's first birthday, the family kept the promise to the priestess Essie. They dressed the little girl in white lace, brought her to the riverside with drums and singing, and let her splash her tiny feet in the cool water while neighbors clapped and danced. No shrines, no fear, only joy. It was a day that sealed the peace in Kwame's household at last. Moral lesson: a home divided by pride and suspicion cannot stand. But when truth is spoken, courage is shown, and forgiveness is given, even the deepest wounds can heal. In the end, it is kindness, not revenge, that keeps the drums of peace beating in every family.